Welcome to the deep dive. Today we are tackling something, well, something a lot of us dream about, right?
hmm
Being the one providing the soundtrack, making that perfect mix at a party, or maybe even taking that big step towards DJing professionally in a club.
Yeah, that leap into the booth, it's a common goal.
But that whole journey, it doesn't really start with the first gig, does it? It kicks off way earlier.
Right, it starts with that first piece of gear, exactly. That crucial and sometimes pretty overwhelming decision,
Yeah.
choosing your very first DJ controller. It
Okay.
really is a foundational choice.
And it feels monumental because the hardware you pick, the thing you actually invest in, it kind of sets the whole tone for how you learn, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. It defines that entire learning curve. Choose well, get something that fits your ultimate goal, and you're basically putting yourself on the fast track.
Right. Smooth sailing, hopefully?
Yeah, or smoother sailing at least.
Yeah.
But if you choose poorly, well, you could end up building habits that are tough to shake later on.
Or worse, buying gear that just limits you before you even know what you're capable of.
Exactly. You hit a ceiling you didn't even know was there.
So our mission for this deep dive is super specific. We've looked at the landscape for 2025, which is, let's be honest, getting more complicated. You've got brands changing, new tech popping up. We want to pinpoint the 3 best options out there right now that really nail that balance between being easy to start with, having features that actually help you learn, and crucially offering that potential to grow professionally, all aimed squarely at the beginner in 2025.
And you mentioned the complexity. We really have to touch on that seismic shift, the AlphaTheta situation.
The big one, Pioneer DJ becoming AlphaTheta, that throws a spanner in the works, doesn't it?
It does, because suddenly you're looking at established controllers like the DDJ FLX4, which everyone knows.
There's been 2 for ages, yeah?
Right. But you're also thinking, okay, what about its successor? Is there an AlphaTheta DDJ FLX2 coming? Is it going to be better? Different?
It adds this layer of uncertainty. Do you buy the known quantity, the final Pioneer DJ version, or do you wait for something potentially new under the AlphaTheta banner?
That's the gamble. And it
Yeah.
really highlights the stakes, which you touched on earlier.
Okay, let's dive into that. What are the real stakes here?
Well, like you said, it's not just buying a gadget. For anyone serious about this, it's a foundational investment. It's your primary tool.
Bridge, you called it.
Exactly. A bridge between where you are now, just starting out, and where you want to be, maybe in a club booth someday. And the sources we looked at, they all circle back to this idea of efficient skill transfer, meaning getting you from zero to mixing smoothly as directly as possible. We want to minimize the friction, the disconnect between practicing on your desk at home and suddenly facing thousands of euros worth of gear in a dark, loud club.
Okay, so the first choice really matters for that transition.
Massively. It determines how quickly you translate the theory, like music structure, rhythm, into actual hands-on muscle memory.
Ah, the muscle memory, that's key.
It's everything in the long run, that instant link between your brain and your hands. So we're prioritizing controllers that basically teach you the right way from the get-go, the habits you'll need later.
Got it. Setting you up for success down the line.
So let's start with a fundamental truth, especially for electronic music DJing today. If you're serious, truly serious about playing in clubs, festivals, those kinds of established venues,
Big stages.
yeah, then starting with a controller that mimics the dominant ecosystem isn't just a smart move. It's basically future-proofing your skills.
And that ecosystem is still Pioneer DJ, or now AlphaTheta, right?
Overwhelmingly, yes.
Yeah.
The global standard in club booths, festival stages, it's still defined by their professional CDJs and DJM mixers.
Yeah.
Gear that's been refined over, 2 decades?
Decades, yeah. So that brings us straight to the first recommendation, the sort of undisputed champ for beginners aiming for that pro path, the Pioneer DDJ FLX4. And acknowledging, like we said, its potential AlphaTheta successor, maybe an FLX2, this package represents what the sources consistently call the professional gateway.
That's the term, yeah. It's the clearest entry point into that world.
Okay, but let's dig into the why. If the FLX4, or maybe the FLX2, is so dominant, so recommended for beginners, what makes it tick? And crucially, if it's priced for beginners, where did they cut corners? What are the compromises? Good question. The core reason for its dominance boils down to one concept: replicating that club standard design.
This is the single most important factor if you're thinking long-term growth.
Yeah.
Look closely at the FLX4's physical layout.
Yeah.
The jog wheels, how big they are, where they sit, the performance pads below them, the 3 EQ knobs, high, mid, low per channel. and especially that dedicated loop section, it's all engineered not just to look like the Pro Gear, but to feel like it in terms of workflow. The ergonomics are intentionally mirrored.
So you mean it's laid out like the really expensive stuff, the CDJ 3000s, the DJM A9 mixer?
Exactly. The gear you'd find in, Berghain, Ibiza, any major festival main stage. Gear that costs, well, a fortune, 10, 15,000 euros or more, easily.
Wow. Okay. So the FLX4 gives you that layout familiarity.
Precisely. Now, obviously, the insides are different. The material's lots of plastic, the sound card quality, how durable the faders feel. It's definitely built to an entry-level price point.
Right. That's the compromise you mentioned.
That's the compromise. But the genius of the FLX4, and presumably the FLX2, is where they prioritized. They focused relentlessly on getting the layout identical to the Pro setup.
Like where the filter knob is relative to the channel fader?
Exactly that. Or where the cue buttons are placed next to the master volume. Tiny details maybe, but they become second nature. That's the bedrock of muscle memory.
Okay, but let's push back on that a bit. If it is built to a budget, are the sources saying the actual feel like how those jog wheels spin or the sturdiness of the whole unit is noticeably, well, cheaper compared to maybe a mid-range controller?
Oh, absolutely. The sources are clear on that. It's lighter plastic. The jogs don't have the same heavy inertial feel of the Pro platters. The faders might not feel as robust.
So it feels like a beginner controller. It does. But here's the justification that comes through again and again. For a beginner, layout trumps physical feel. Okay, explain that.
It's much, much easier for a DJ who's learned the correct layout to adapt later to heavier, higher quality knobs and faders on Pro Gear.
Right.
Than it is for them to completely rewire their brain and hands because they learned on a controller with a totally different, non-standard layout.
Ah, I see. So the muscle memory built on the FLX4 transfers directly.
Instantly.
Yeah.
So when you finally get that chance, that shot in a real club booth, facing that intimidatingly expensive setup, your hands already know where everything is, instinctively.
That takes a huge amount of stress off, I imagine.
Massive. It reduces that learning friction right when the pressure is highest. That's the ultimate future-proofing benefit. You're investing your practice time efficiently.
Okay, layout is king for the aspiring club DJ. What about software? That's another big hurdle, right? Rekordbox versus Serato. It feels like a huge commitment early on.
It does feel like that.
Yeah.
Which ecosystem do you buy into? Which workflow is better for you? People agonize over this.
Yeah.
And this is another area where the FLX4 and likely the FLX2 just shines.
Yeah.
It basically eliminates that anxiety because of its dual compatibility.
Meaning it works with both?
Natively and perfectly with both Rekordbox and Serato DJ Lite, which is actually pretty rare at this entry-level price point.
Wow. Okay.
And even better, both the Lite version of Serato and the core performance mode of Rekordbox are included free when you buy the controller. Zero extra cost to start experimenting.
So you don't have to place a bet on day one. You can try both and see what clicks. That's huge freedom.
It's massive. And we can dig into why that choice matters. Rekordbox is Pioneer's own software, right? So if your goal is the club scene, using those standard CDJs, Rekordbox is almost essential. It's how you analyze your tracks properly, set cue points, manage playlists, and export everything to a USB stick that the club gear can actually read.
Right, you need it for track preparation for the Pro Gear.
Exactly. If you ignore Rekordbox early on and only use Serato, you're basically creating a massive backlog of work for yourself later when you do need to prep tracks for CDJs.
Okay. And Serato.
Serato has traditionally been more popular in the hip-hop and open format worlds. Many find its interface a bit more intuitive for certain things, and it has a really strong reputation for DDS, using timecode vinyl or CDs, and for scratching.
So different strengths, different target users historically?
Kind of, yeah. By giving you both, the FLX4 lets you explore Rekordbox's powerful library management, essential for the club workflow, and Serato's perhaps more immediate feel, especially if you lean toward scratch or quicker mixing styles. You can figure out which system actually supports the DJ you want to become without spending another penny on hardware.
That's incredibly valuable for a beginner finding their feet.
Totally. It removes a major barrier.
Okay, let's talk about features designed specifically for the beginner. The FLX4 introduced something called the Smart Fader. The name sounds helpful, but what does it actually do? How does it solve a typical beginner problem?
The Smart Fader. It's actually quite clever because it tackles head-on probably the #1 reason why early mixes often sound, well, bad.
Which is?
Low-frequency clashing, muddy bass. You know when you mix two tracks and the kick drums and bass lines just fight each other?
Yeah.
Creates this awful, boomy, distorted mess.
Oh, yeah. Bass soup, I've heard it called.
Exactly. Bass soup. For a beginner, trying to juggle the crossfader, keep the tracks in time, and simultaneously manipulate the EQ knobs, especially pulling the bass out of the incoming track at the right moment and bringing it back in smoothly, it's a lot to handle at once.
It's overwhelming, yeah.
So the smart fader essentially automates the EQ part of the transition. When you activate it, simply moving the crossfader from one side to the other triggers a pre-programmed, smooth transition. The controller automatically adjusts the bass, maybe the mids and highs too, ensuring those low frequencies from the two tracks don't clash violently.
Ah, okay. So it handles the EQ balancing for you during the crossfade.
Precisely. It makes the blend much cleaner, much more professional sounding, even if the tracks are maybe from different genres or have very different bass lines.
So the immediate benefit is confidence. You get a decent sounding mix much quicker.
Spot on. You get a pleasant result while you're still struggling with the fundamentals. I remember my early days trying to mix tracks wildly out of sync or with clashing keys. It could sound truly awful.
We've all been there.
Right. The smart fader gives you a kind of safety net. It lets you focus on the really hard part, manual beat matching, training your ears to hear tempo differences without relying on sync buttons, while the controller takes care of the complex audio blend. It cleverly separates that critical listening skill from the EQ performance skill, letting you tackle them one by one.
That makes a lot of sense for learning build skills sequentially.
Yep, it's a smart training wheel. Okay, one more area for the FLX4. Connectivity. We live in a mobile world now. How does it adapt? This is another standout feature, really catering to how people live and use tech today. Obviously, it connects to your PC or a Mac via USB like any controller.
Standard stuff.
But the killer app here is its ability to connect and DJ directly from smartphones and tablets using Bluetooth, specifically with the Rekordbox mobile app.
DJing from your phone. That sounds convenient, but maybe laggy. Isn't latency a huge issue with Bluetooth for precise mixing? That's the critical question, and yes, Bluetooth inherently introduces some latency. The sources are very clear. You would not use this Bluetooth connection for a serious, high-pressure live performance where split-second timing is everything.
Okay, so it's not for the club.
Definitely not. But that's not the point. It's designed for low-stakes, high-convenience practice.
Right.
Think about it. You're lounging on the sofa, or you're at a friend's place. You want to quickly try out a couple of mixes, maybe test some tracks from your phone's library. Normally, that means firing up the laptop, finding space, plugging everything in. It can be a 10-minute setup chore.
Yeah, sometimes that barrier is enough to just not bother.
Exactly. The mobile connectivity removes that barrier. Whip out your phone, connect via Bluetooth, and you can practice or experiment almost instantly. It offers huge flexibility for casual sessions, workflow testing, just keeping your hand in.
So it makes practice more accessible, fitting into a mobile lifestyle. Perfectly. It reduces the friction of setup, which honestly can be a big factor in keeping beginners motivated. It's about accessibility, not zero latency pro performance.
Got it. So summing up the FLX4, FLX2, it's really aimed at the serious beginner with eyes on the pro club scene. They want that future compatibility, that Pioneer AlphaTheta ecosystem alignment. They're willing to trade maybe top-tier build quality for that perfect layout replication. It's the fast lane to the big leagues, essentially. That's a great way to put it. The most efficient route in.
Okay, that covers the professional gateway. But what about a different kind of beginner? Someone who knows they need more direct help, more hand-holding to get over those initial hurdles. They're not just looking for a tool. They maybe want something closer to a built-in tutor, something giving immediate feedback.
Right.
The learner who wants structured assistance to really speed up that initial learning curve. And for that specific need, the sources consistently point towards a different contender. The Hercules DJ Control Impulse 500. Hercules. They've really carved out a niche in that educational space, haven't they? They absolutely have. Their whole mission seems to be about minimizing that early frustration for the complete novice. And the Impulse 500 is a prime example. Robust, yes, but incredibly educational by design. It gives you immediate visual feedback where other controllers just leave you to figure it out by ear alone.
Okay, let's talk about that feedback. The big feature is the LED light guides, right? A personal DJ tutor, you called it?
That's essentially what they are. Non-judgmental, always there, providing visual cues that directly relate to the actions you need to take.
So, beat matching. We know that's usually the first massive wall beginners hit, getting two tracks to play at the same speed and in time. How do these lights actually show you how to do that? What's the visual language?
It's quite intuitive, actually. The system works on two main things, tempo matching and beat alignment. For tempo, you've got lights near the pitch fader. If the track you're bringing in is too slow, an arrow lights up. basically pointing upwards, telling you, push the speed up. If it's too fast and arrow points down, pull the fader back. It gives you that immediate directional cue, stops you from just randomly waggling the fader hoping for the best. Okay, that helps with the speed. What about getting the beats lined up, the kicks and snares hitting together?
That's where the lights around the jog wheels come in. They help with alignment, or phasing. Beat matching isn't just about identical speed. The downbeats have to land at the same time.
So these LED rings pulse or indicate where you need to nudge the jog wheel. If your incoming track is falling behind the beat, the lights will visually guide your hand to push the platter forward slightly. If it's rushing ahead, they'll guide you to pull it back gently.
Ah, so it's physically showing you the correction needed on the jog wheel itself.
Exactly. It's constant visual reinforcement. Think about how hard it is for an absolute beginner to even isolate the kick drum consistently in a complex track, let alone judge tiny timing differences by ear.
Yeah, it's really difficult at first.
It leads to so much frustration, people give up because they just can't seem to make it work. The Impulse 500 provides this concrete visual structure. It's like having training wheels for your ears and hands. It guides you until your listening skills actually catch up.
So it accelerates that critical early phase where you're just trying to get the basic mechanics down, structured practice.
Significantly accelerates it, yeah. It builds confidence through visible success cues.
Okay, visual guides are a huge plus for learners. Now, you mentioned earlier that entry-level gear often compromises on audio quality. The sound card, the outputs, they're usually pretty basic.
Very common, yeah. Cost-cutting measures.
But the sources suggest the Impulse 500 actually bucks that trend. It focuses on better audio outputs.
This is a really interesting strategic choice by Hercules, and it makes the Impulse 500 stand out. While the FLX4 prioritizes layout above all else, the Impulse 500, surprisingly for its price bracket, often invests more in the quality and capability of its audio interface.
What does that mean in practical terms? Better connectors?
Often, yes. More robust connectivity options. Sometimes you'll find professional-grade balanced outputs on the Impulse 500. We're talking TRS jacks, maybe even full XLR connectors, the kind you see on Pro Gear.
Okay, why does balanced versus unbalanced matter for a beginner? Most entry-level stuff just has those red and white RCA plugs, right?
Exactly. And RCAs are unbalanced connections. The problem with unbalanced cables is they're much more susceptible to picking up electrical noise and interference, especially over longer cable runs.
Like if you're running a cable across the living room floor to plug into some speakers, you might get that annoying hum or buzz.
That's the risk, yeah. Balanced outputs, like XLR or TRS, use clever wiring to cancel out that kind of interference. They maintain signal integrity much better, especially over a distance.
Okay, so why is that important for someone just starting out?
Because maybe you're not just practicing in your bedroom with headphones. Maybe you want to actually play your first small house party or a little gathering outdoors, maybe hook up to a rented PA system.
Ah, connecting to bigger speakers.
Right. In those situations, having a clean, strong, noise-free audio signal is vital. The Impulse 500, by offering these more professional balanced outputs, gives you the kind of connection reliability and potentially better sound quality that you'd normally expect from more expensive mid-range controllers.
So it's a more solid option if you plan to play out, even on a small scale, relatively soon.
It's a definite pragmatic advantage. It positions the Impulse 500 not just as a learning tool, but as a capable controller for those very first public or semi-public performances, beyond just headphones and desktop monitors. It's built for small gigs right out of the box, in a way some competitors aren't.
Okay, let's recap segment 2 then. The Hercules DJ Control Impulse 500 is really tailored for the absolute beginner who feels they'll benefit most from constant visual guidance, that built-in tutor feel with the light guides. And also for the beginner who perhaps values immediate sound quality and robust connections for playing at small events early on, maybe even prioritizing that slightly over-perfect club layout replication.
That sums it up nicely. It's the interactive learning powerhouse with surprisingly solid audio chops for its class.
All right, we've covered the aspiring club DJ with the FLX4 and the guided learner with the Impulse 500. But DJing isn't just house and techno smooth blends, is it?
Not at all. It's a huge spectrum.
We need to talk about a whole different style. What about the people whose passion is fired up by hip-hop, by turntablism, by the art of scratching, that more aggressive, acrobatic kind of mixing?
Absolutely crucial to cover this, because if that's your main goal, mastering quick cuts, intricate scratches like flares, chirps, crabs, then the club standard layout we praised on the FLX4 is actually kind of wrong for you.
Really? Counterproductive. Yeah, for scratching, the ergonomics are totally different. You need what's called a battle layout. And for this specific, highly skilled niche, the sources point clearly to one standout beginner option, the Pioneer DDJ RV1.
REV1. Okay, so this one is built specifically for that turntable style.
Engineered from the ground up to simulate the classic battle DJ setup, it's optimized entirely for turntable-style acrobatics on a controller.
So how different is the layout? You said it's a radical departure from the FLX line, completely different philosophy.
Yeah.
The REV1 is designed to mimic almost exactly the setup that turntablists have used since hip-hop blew up. Two traditional vinyl turntables, usually positioned horizontally, battle style, flanking a mixer that's oriented vertically in the middle. The REV1 replicates that orientation on a single controller unit.
Okay, I think I can picture that. How does that change the way you actually use it, especially for scratching?
It's all about ergonomics for hand movement. Take the pitch faders, the sliders that control the track speed. On a club controller like the FLX4, they're usually placed vertically alongside the jog wheels.
Right.
On the REV1's battle layout, they deliberately move those pitch faders right up to the top of the controller, running horizontally above the decks.
Why? What does that achieve?
It clears the crucial central area. The most important tool for a scratch DJ is the crossfader. It needs to be right in the middle, easily accessible, with tons of empty space around it.
Ah, so moving the pitch faders gives your hands more room to work the crossfader.
Exactly. Techniques like scratching involve really fast, sometimes quite large and aggressive hand movements across that crossfader. You're flicking it, tapping it, cutting the sound in and out rhythmically. You absolutely cannot risk accidentally bumping a pitch fader or knocking an EQ knob while you're in the middle of a complex scratch pattern. The REV1's layout gives you that essential clear space, that performance zone around the crossfader.
So the muscle memory you build is specific to those turntablist techniques.
Precisely. It trains your hands for the specific dexterity and movements required for battle-style mixing and scratching, right from day one.
Okay, layout is critical. What about the jog wheels themselves? Scratching seems like it would rely heavily on the feel and responsiveness of the platter you're manipulating.
Absolutely. Tactile feedback and immediate, precise control are paramount. And this is another area where the REV1 is specialized compared to the FLX line.
How so?
Size matters, basically. For a turntablist using a controller, the jog wheel needs to feel as close as possible to the platter of a real vinyl turntable, and the REV1 features significantly larger jog wheels than the FLX4.
Okay, and why is bigger better for scratching?
Two main reasons. First, a larger wheel simply offers more surface area. That means better grip, more stability when you're doing quick pushes, pulls, drags, and releases to manipulate the sound. The actual physical act of scratching.
More control surface.
Yeah. And second, it relates to inertia. A larger, often slightly heavier jog wheel has more inertia. It resists changes in motion a little more, feels more substantial.
I think a real record platter has some weight to it.
Exactly. When you're executing complex scratches, you need to feel the track under your fingers responding predictably with a certain weight or resistance. That larger size and mass on the REV1 helps provide that more realistic, tactile feedback, giving the DJ a much more intimate sense of physical control over the audio waveform they're manipulating. It's crucial for precise acrobatic control.
So it sounds like choosing the REV1 is a very conscious decision to specialize. You're prioritizing the specific needs of scratching and turntablism above, say, the versatility needed for mixing multiple genres smoothly in a club setting.
That's exactly it. You're actively choosing a tool optimized for one very demanding, very specific style of DJing. If hip-hop, battle mixing, and scratching are your primary passion, the REV1's specialized layout and tactile jog wheels are pretty much non-negotiable features for effective practice at the beginner level. Okay, so the takeaway for this segment is clear. The DDJ REV1 is the go-to, almost exclusively, for beginners laser-focused on hip-hop, turntablism, and scratching, who need those specific battle setup ergonomics from the start. Couldn't put it better myself. It's the Scratch Specialist's entry ticket. #tag outro. So we've really covered some serious ground there navigating the options for 2025, especially with that added layer of the AlphaTheta rebrand kind of shifting the landscape a bit. But fundamentally, picking that first controller, it's exciting, isn't it? It's that first big step. And hopefully, this deep dive has clarified things by showing there are really three distinct, highly effective paths for a beginner today, depending on what your ambition is.
Yeah, 3 clear routes.
The DDJ FLX4. Or its potential successor, the FLX2. That's your most versatile option. The direct line into the professional club ecosystem.
Right.
You get that crucial club standard layout for muscle memory, the essential dual software compatibility, even if you accept the trade-off of entry-level build quality. It's the pro pathway.
Okay, Path 2?
Path 2 is the Hercules DJ Control Impulse 500. This one's all about accelerating the learning process. Those smart LED light guides provide invaluable visual feedback, making those tricky early stages of beat matching much less frustrating, more structured.
The built-in tutor.
Exactly. Plus, you get those surprisingly robust, often balanced audio outputs, making it great for playing out at small parties right away. It excels in learning assistance and immediate gig readiness.
And the third path?
Path 3 is the DDJ REV1. This one is the undisputed choice if scratching, turntablism, and hip-hop mixing are your main focus. Its specialized battle mixer layout and those large, responsive jog wheels are designed specifically for the tactile control and hand movements essential to that style. It dominates if scratching is the goal. So the big takeaway listening to all this seems to be there's no single best controller overall. The best choice is deeply personal, isn't it?
Absolutely.
It's about you, the listener, being really honest about your goals. What music do you actually want to play? Where do you realistically see yourself performing bedroom house parties, maybe clubs down the line? Are you aiming for seamless club transitions? Do you need maximum learning support right now? Or is your heart set on mastering those intricate scratch techniques? Aligning the controller to that specific answer is the key.
Spot on. It's about matching the tool to your specific ambition and learning style.
And that leads us perfectly into a final thought, something that maybe chew on, especially tying back to that AlphaTheta transition and the tech advancements like we saw with the FLX4's mobile features. Yeah. Okay, so we know Pioneer, now AlphaTheta, dominates the pro scene. We see the FLX4 making mobile practice via Bluetooth and apps incredibly easy and popular. So the question is, how might this relentless push towards mobile compatibility, DJing from phones, tablets, fundamentally change things in the future? Interesting.
Change how?
Well, could it change where and how pros practice? Could it even change how they perform eventually? Imagine club booths in 5 or 10 years relying more on prep done on a tablet than solely on a laptop.
Mobile prep replacing laptop prep as the standard.
Or maybe, could the sheer convenience of mobile DJing lower the barrier to entry so much that it starts to blur the lines? Could it redefine what we even consider professional preparation or performance looks like?
It's a fascinating point. Does ultimate accessibility change the definition of pro? Or does the core skill requirement remain, just using different tools? Definitely something to keep thinking about as this tech keeps accelerating. A really interesting thought to end on your phone, potentially becoming the most powerful part of your DJ setup sooner than we think. Okay, that's all the time we have for this deep dive. Thanks for joining us. Now, go make some noise.